Secret payments, explosive threats, women dragged, silenced, pushed to the edge, literally. The Diddy Trial isn't just a legal case. This is a cultural reckoning unfolding in real time. And behind every headline is a human cost. These aren't just witnesses. These are the key voices shaping the future of justice in the industry. Welcome to SlayQueen TV, where real talk meets royalty, and I am your host, your royal realness. And today is our very first Royal Report Countdown edition. Yes, guys, we are diving into the world of Darkness and Diddy, counting down the top 10 pieces of testimony to hit the courtroom so far. We're going to focus on the first 4 to 5 weeks and just have a look, see what stood out and compare it to what the prosecution are trying to prove. Have they proven their case so far? So, without further ado, let's spill this tea.
She got style, grace, she got attitude.
Now, before we dive in, let's frame the case and take a look at the prosecution's opening statement, because from jump, they made one thing clear. This isn't about fame. This is about power, about violence, and about a pattern of abuse that spanned decades. They opened with a damning narrative, and not just one of a man abusing power, but of a culture that protected him. They painted a picture of coercion, cover-ups, and fear. A lot of fear, and over the past few weeks, witness after witness has filled in the details. The prosecution told jurors they're going to hear from women who were manipulated, isolated, controlled, all with Diddy right at the centre. They called it organised abuse, with methods ranging from threats to trafficking, hush money, surveillance. This shaped the entire case, and it framed every witness as a piece of a bigger puzzle. One that says Diddy didn't just harm or abuse individuals. He ran an empire of silence. So let's start the countdown. Now, in at number 10, we have Dr. Dawn Hughes. Now, Dr. Hughes is a forensic and clinical psychologist who opened the court's understanding of abuse. Now, she didn't speak about Cassie and Diddy specifically, like she didn't mention them. She was speaking in general terms. So she was speaking to trauma and how it affects your memory, why survivors don't leave, why they don't report, whether they don't tell their family or report it to the authorities, and why not reporting it doesn't mean denial. It doesn't mean that these things aren't happening. And I want everyone to understand that not all abuse leaves a bruise. That's something we need to keep in mind. Now, the defense really tried their best to not have her testify. I'm sure one of Diddy's lawyers has used her before. I think that's what I heard. So he must know what she's about. So they tried to get her out of it. They didn't want her to testify, but she was able to testify, but as I said, only in general terms. A lot of reports were saying that because she didn't speak to them specifically or about this case specifically, that her testimony wasn't as damning or as helpful, I guess, as they thought it should have been. And I tend to disagree, because I understand she didn't speak about Cassie and Diddy specifically, so how does it relate? But I think that's what makes it more difficult. When you think of what the abuse is, the alleged abuse, and I'm not going to say alleged anyway because I saw the tape, he abused that girl. Yeah, when you look at what the alleged abuse is, it's going to be hard for the jury and for us as just normal general people. It's hard to maybe picture it because we don't live that life. When you think of Diddy and Cassie, you think of fame, fortune, celebrity. Us normal folks, we can't identify with that. So I feel like her speaking in general terms, or I'm hoping that would have helped, because I'm thinking that might have helped the jury to think separate from the fame and the fortune and think about everyday people, and then that might equate to someone in their life. Oh, I remember when Auntie Jane did act a certain way, or my cousin or my sister or my mum. Do you see what I mean? So speaking generally, I'm hoping that it had more of an effect, but I guess only time will tell. And the trial is coming to an end, you know. We ain't got long left. This kind of went quick, if I'm honest. We haven't got long left. This is the last week of prosecution, and then we have the defense. Now, I'm trying to, who on earth is actually going to defend this man? Who's going to be the mofo that's going to sit on the stand in federal court and say, I vouch for this brother? I don't know. I can't wait to actually see. The basis of her testimony, I think, was very, very important. I question the timing of it, only because I think people have forgotten that already, which is hard, because what point do you bring certain witnesses? Now, we knew Cassie had to testify when she did, because she was about to drop. So luckily, I think, was it maybe a week, 2 weeks after she gave birth? Congratulations, Cassie. So they had to have her testify there. But I feel like it would be good if they could bring her back after hearing testimony from other victims, like a Jane, like the friend who was hung over the balcony. I'm sure there was another one. He's got so many victims, I've lost count. It's actually ridiculous. So I'm hoping that maybe they could bring her back. And if not, because I vaguely remember maybe hearing that they wanted to do that, but the judge denied it. Don't quote me. And if they can't, they need to hit that home in the closing statement. They need to make this jury understand that you may not see a bruise. All abuse doesn't leave a bruise. It doesn't. We saw a tape where clearly she was bruised. She had, and this is the thing, I cannot see please, they cannot let this man go. And I'm hoping the jury, whether they think that the prosecution proved their case or not, and I know that's not how you're supposed to do it. This is a court of law. But for me, all right, cool. I'm not sure if they proved it, but we got to lock him away. You can't have brothers like that walking the streets. Rich and powerful like that, crazy like that. The brother is crazy. And this is another thing where I don't understand how people can't see the fear that either made them perform in ways that they wouldn't normally, or prevented them from leaving when maybe if it was a next guy they might have left. You've got a guy that's got security, bodyguards, pals. Like, this man is not, he's not small potatoes. Like, this is big things, and he is not afraid to put something upside your head. We've seen it. And then we're going to actually, with a straight face, say, why didn't Cassie leave? Huh? That irks my soul. Going through certain comment sections really pees me off, because sometimes I'm like, do you lot not get it? Or are you purposely not getting it? Because I don't want to sound offensive, but to me, it's simple. 2 + 2. We're getting the 2s and the 2s, and we're making the 4s. You mofos are making 67. Like, I don't understand it. How can you not see the coercion? Take out all of Cassie's testimony. Take it all out. Look at that video alone. Now, we can't take out all of Cassie's testimony, because she testified that she was leaving a freak off. She was trying to escape a freak off. Now, the fact that I'm having to say she was trying to leave is already a problem. What do you mean trying to? She should be able to leave when she wants to. And it is very clear to us all that she couldn't. She couldn't just walk away. He dragged her by her neck back and dashed her down. Kick her up, drag her across the floor. And then you mofos are going to sit there and say, yeah, but she can't be a victim for 10 years, maybe 2. I beg you, what now? Since when did an abuse or any form of abuse have a lifespan? Who made that rule? When did abuse have an expiry date? I'm trying to find out, because some of you are quite scary. I've read some comments where it kind of puts a shiver down my spine. Like, this is actual people. And I wonder, do people actually think like this, or are you lot just trolling and big bow chuckers you're on the internet? Because if this is you lot's real thought patterns, I feel sorry for Pitney. I feel sorry for your daughters. I feel sorry for your sons. Because ain't no way you're going to watch a video like that, listen to this testimony, and let's not pretend that we ain't been knowing about Diddy from what day. Diddy's been a tyrant since the 90s. Let's not play with each other. Come on now. And then you lot are going to say, oh, they're just trying to bring down the black man. Yeah, we're supposed to. What's race got to do with it? So we can bring down Weinstein, but not this idiot. You don't need to stop it. You need to be careful, because people's kids are in these comment sections. My kids are in these comment sections. What do you think you lot are doing to the young ladies out here that are in situations that they can't get out of, are scared to get out of. What do you think that does to those victims? Even more dangerous, what do you think that does to the guy that is going upside these girls' head because he ain't got no manners, no respect, and he weren't taught any better, and then he comes on these social platforms and reads you lot's comments? Well, she's not a victim because she's been with him for 2 years. So he, what? Oh, well, it's been 2.5 years, so I guess she's not a victim. I can proceed. You lot got to be careful. But yeah, Dr. Dawn Hughes was an important piece of testimony. I think her testimony could be one of the most important, whether people believe that or not. Obviously, everyone has their own opinion. I believe that she is one of the most important testimonies. But let's move on. Now, in at number 9, we have George Kaplan. Is that how you pronounce it? You lot's got to allow me, I'm English. George Kaplan, who is a former assistant of Diddy's. Now, please note that this man testified under immunity. Now, maybe I'm not a legal person, so maybe I'm not quite understanding everything, but aren't you given immunity so that what you say, you don't incriminate yourself? I know that's when you plead the fifth. Get in the comments and let me know. Isn't immunity because you're going to say stuff that you could be charged for, and this immunity means that you won't be? If that is the case, then why do so many witnesses need immunity if no crimes were committed? And I don't want to hear this is domestic violence, like that's okay. You lot are stupid, innit? Cha. Anyway, so at number 9, we've got George Kaplan. Now, he spoke about his role as Diddy's assistant. And at this time, this was the early days, and this is when a lot of the focus was on Cassie. So a lot of his testimony was about what he saw with Cassie, how the relationship was from his perspective. And he corroborated Cassie's testimony from what I heard. From what I heard, he said he saw violence, he witnessed violence. He even, I can't remember if he said he did it often, but he would go and buy the makeup to cover up her bruises. Now, if that's part of his job, isn't that part of the, what's the other thing? RICO, racketeering, don't all those things kind of intertwine? Because why is your staff paying for things like that? And he spoke about an incident on a plane where he heard commotion, he heard crashing, he's run out to see what's happening. Cassie's on the floor, Diddy is standing over her with a whiskey glass. But she's not a victim though. Okay. And this is the assistant. So this is another person to corroborate that she was not treated well. She didn't have a voice. She didn't have a say. She was controlled. Now, if you're controlled in every aspect of your life, from down to your image, to what you wear, to your career, to where you go, to who you see, how do you control whether you're part of a freak-off or not? I mean, I'm just asking, like, how can I not decide that I want to keep my pretty hair? Didn't he tell her she must shave off her head side? I'm sure I heard her say that. I'm sure that was his suggestion. He saw, I can't remember who he saw, and then said, yeah, that would suit you. You got to cut your hair. Okay. And then you lot are going to get in the comments and say she liked it. Wow. If they let this man out, oh Lord, it's actually scary. So this George Kaplan, he spoke, and in terms of him and Diddy and his working relationship, or whatever you would call it, he said Diddy threatened his job regular on a monthly basis. His job was threatened. I think that plays into a bit of the control, that exertion of power. And I'm sure he said he ended up leaving because he couldn't deal with the atmosphere. He couldn't deal with having to witness Cassie being treated in this way. And you lot are going to say she's not a victim. Let's move on. Now, in at number 8, we've got Dawn Richard. Now, Dawn Richard, do you know what? I'm saying it funny because in our language, like, we don't all speak English. No, how we read it, how I read that is Richard. But I've heard people say Richard, so I'm doing my best. Please blame me. So we have Dawn Richard, who we know well. We've seen her interact with Diddy over the years. Now, Dawn is from the Making the Band group, Danity Kane. And when that ended, I think she eventually ended up in Diddy Dirty Money with Diddy. And I want to say Kalina. So it was the three of them. So she's been around. So I felt like her testimony was going to be important because she's can span quite a few years. So let's look at Dawn's testimony. So Dawn, at the time, I remember people saying that the defense, obviously when they cross-examined her, that the defense kind of chewed Dawn up. I don't know. Obviously, I'm only going by certain reports. But I think there were important parts to her testimony. Again, someone else who corroborated what Cassie had said prior to her. She witnessed Cassie getting punched, dragged, kicked. She says she witnessed it more than once. Now, there was a few stories that she told that the defense kind of sounded like they tripped her up on. One about Diddy either throwing a pan of hot eggs, cooking eggs and throwing the pan at Cassie, or throwing the eggs, not the pan. My question is, what's the difference? Do you know how hot oil is when you're frying and you're going to dash that at the girl? Whether you dashed the pan or you didn't dash the pan. So whether they tripped her up on that, who cares? Like, what? What are we doing? Anyway, Dawn testified that not only did she see him attack her in private, whenever, because it seemed like this was just a regular thing, she testified that she saw him attack her in public, and not just in public, but in front of other celebrities. She mentioned Neo, she mentioned Usher, she mentioned Jimmy Ivy. Now, again, these are important pieces of testimony. Why? Because it speaks to the power and the control, not only over Cassie, but over everyone. You mean not one brother could stand up and say, yo, Even if you say, not while I'm here. Not that I respect that. I don't respect it. But at least show that I ain't about to sit here while you do that. Do you mean not one of them did that? There's a reason why. It's the power, it's the control. And can you imagine? Imagine being someone that's abused behind closed doors. Yeah? You're abused behind closed doors, and when you're out in public, he appears to treat you well. So to the outside eye, they wouldn't even think that you're being abused. Yeah? Follow me. Imagine you're abused at home, but you're also abused out in public in front of known celebrities, and not one person can back you. Not one person bats an eyelid. Not one person even looks shocked. What do you think that does for her? Do you think that encourages her to leave, or do you think that makes her think, rah, like, where can I even go? Who can you go to? What, the police? Okay, we know how that one goes. We know how that one goes when it comes to big, powerful men. Big, powerful, rich men. I think Dawn's testimony was really powerful. She also spoke to how she was treated. She touched on that, how he would tell her not to get involved in his relationship because apparently she said Kalina would tell Cassie to leave, and then he would tell her like she can disappear, and don't quote me, but along those lines. So again, it's showing not only his power within the bad boy compounds, but everywhere else. So I think that was important, and I think it was nice when she excuse me, when she testified that, I can't remember what show it was, but Cassie was at the show and she had black glasses on because she had black eye. So the girls, they also wore sunglasses to show, solidarity with Cassie, and I thought that was a really nice thing to do. So I think that Dawn's testimony was helpful. Obviously, the cross-examination, if she did seem a bit shaky, come on, we are talking about years and years and years. And sometimes, and I think she testified to this when she was being cross-examined, and it was, well, this isn't what you said before, or this isn't what you said when you spoke to police, or this isn't what you put in your civil case. Because remember, Dawn filed a civil case as well. And I think one of her answers was, because it's a new memory, I tried to push all of those memories out, which is what you do. Who wants to walk around with flashbacks of Diddy punching people, or Diddy screaming at you. And guys, if you lot watched Making the Band, because I remember that, he didn't pet to disrespect these gal. He didn't care. Not only that, we saw how he spoke to his staff. Lorianne Gibson, I didn't like how he handled her. She seemed close to him, but I think she's got a couple stories to tell. Her name may come up, but I'm wondering what story she's got to tell. So we'll look out for that. But how he spoke to her, how he spoke to the girls. Remember, these are young girls at the time. He's on camera and he didn't feel no way. Can you imagine what he does behind closed doors? It ain't a joke. So that was Dawn. Let's move on. Now at number 7, we have got Scott Muscati, aka Kid Cudi. Now this was one of the ones I was waiting for. So let's get into it. Now the first time, if I remember rightly, we heard about Kid Cudi, not in general, but in regards to Diddy, I'm sure the first we heard was when Cassie mentioned him in her lawsuit. Remember, Cassie was the catalyst that kicked this all off, in my opinion. So Cassie put in her civil case that she was seeing him. Diddy found out and he said to her that he would blow up his car, and then his car set on fire in his driveway. I think at the time Cudi spoke out with, I can't remember where it was it X or whatever, I don't know, and said yes, that did happen. So this, I think, was a highly anticipated piece of testimony. Obviously he's a celebrity himself, so there's that factor as well, and we just wanted to hear more. He testified, and there was a few things that he said that I thought, why would you say that? But we'll get there. So he testified that he was seeing Cassie for a while, and then all of a sudden he got a phone call saying that people were in his house. Now I can't remember if it was that Diddy specifically was in his house, but people were in his house, and the person that called him was outside. So he testifies that he goes home and his house has clearly been broken into. His Christmas presents, it was around Christmas time, his Christmas presents had been left there opened, which is weird, but if you think about it, it's creepy. Because if I come home and the presents that I wrapped are open somewhere, that's a horrible feeling. That's to let you know, yes, we were here. So that says a lot. And what was really, really awful was that he said they had locked his dog in the bathroom, and he testified that the dog was really jittery after that, which I'm not surprised, because what did the dog witness before they locked it up? Who knows? So he said the dog was really jittery after that, and the dog isn't with us anymore. So that was another piece of testimony. And then he got on to the big part. His car did blow up in his driveway. It was a convertible, and I think they cut the top open. You know, you got the some of them have the material top. They cut that open and threw in a Molotov cocktail. Now, a Molotov cocktail is a homemade explosive where it's a glass bottle with whatever, and you put some kind of cloth inside. Listen to me like I'm about that life. I'm really not. I just watch movies. And you put that in there. Now, there was other testimony, and I can't remember who said it, so I'm not going to say. But I know someone testified, one of the police, or it was either the fire people, testified that it didn't work. Whatever wick they used, whatever piece of cloth they used, failed. Had it not have failed, that could have blew up the car. It's on the driveway. Who knows what could have happened? And this is what people need to understand. This is what I'm hoping the jury understand, that these things this man's doing ain't no joke. That could have gone way worse. Way worse. That could have been a fatality, or at least a serious injury. Burns. Ain't no way. And I think at the time, now this is where his testimony, for me, I thought, are you thinking before you speak or not? So he testified that him and Diddy met up at one point, maybe years later, and Diddy kind of apologized and they kind of squared it off. He did say when he walked into wherever they was, Diddy was standing there, hands by his side, like a Marvel villain. And I can see it, because now, you know when you know something about someone and you don't see them the same? I've always seen him like a bit of a, I've never really rated Diddy like that. But now when you look in his eyes, it's like raw. you're devilish for real. And he said how you were standing, it was giving Marvel villain. So I'm not surprised by that. And he said they had this conversation, they kind of discussed it. Diddy loosely apologized, and he said to him, what about my car? And Diddy said, I don't know what you're talking about. That means nothing. He weren't going to say, oh yeah, sorry mate. No, he weren't going to say that. So he said he don't know what he's talking about, and Kid Cudi just kind of left it at that. Now there was a bit where I thought, don't know if I would have said that. I think he was saying, this was when he was being cross-examined, and he obviously didn't know that Cassie was still seeing Diddy when he was with her. And I can see at the time him thinking, oh, so you're playing me then, because you're still dead there with my man, but you're rolling with me. And I understand that at the time. My question is, on cross-examination, whoever questioned him asked him, but didn't Cassie play you both? And this man said, yeah. Now, I understand at the time thinking that, but do you mean with hindsight, you're going to look back and know that this man blew up my car because I was dating her? I'm not surprised that she didn't just leave him, or maybe she was with me as a break to get away from him because she couldn't just break away. I don't know. I just felt like, all right, you could have asked if you could elaborate a little bit. Like, he was like, yeah, she played us both. And I thought, bruh, really? But anyway, nonetheless, I think his testimony was helpful. That goes to, for me, the criminal enterprise, because you're blowing up people's cars, and I'm assuming he didn't stand outside the man's yard, cut up the Sutton and dash it in there. That's your staff. And if you're paying your staff to do criminal acts like that, what are we talking about? So that was Kid Cudi. He probably said more, but I think we've covered the main parts. So let's move on. So in at number 6, guys, we have got Capricorn Clark. So Capricorn Clark is a former aide of Diddy. She worked for Diddy for quite a few years. And again, her testimony not only corroborated what Cassie said, what Kid Cudi said, added extra fuel to the racketing and Rico fire, because her testimony for me sounded like Goodfellas. Yeah, what this lady said she went through is atrocious. So in terms of Cassie, she testified that she saw him attack her. She saw him kick her with full force. And this is the thing, when you watch someone be attacked, what does that do to you and how you think they can treat you? Which he said he didn't treat her any better. She recalled a time where she, out of frustration, said, oh, I hate it here, or something along those lines. And he dragged her up and pushed her out the house or something. So he was very hands-on with her. She testified that he'd threatened to unalive her. And the story she told about the whole Kid Cudi situation, oh my days. So she says she knew about Cassie and Kid Cudi. She knew about it, and I'm assuming that she had no issue with it because she saw what Cassie was going through and probably was fully aware that Cassie couldn't just leave. So she knew about the Kid Cudi situation, and it was her that took Cassie to Best Buy to get her a burner phone, because she said she was concerned that Cassie was messaging Kid Cudi on a phone that was being paid for by Diddy. And I think it's a quote. She apparently testified that she said, or she felt, that this Cassie and Kid Cudi situation was going to get them all unalived. Now, really? So she took her to buy the phone. Diddy found out about Kid Cudi, and she said it's December. Obviously, remember, this was around Christmas time. Diddy's banging at her door in the morning. They asked her, does he come to your house like that? And she testified, no, he doesn't. So that's already alarming. He's banging on the door like the police. And then when she answers the door, he's, how do we put it for YouTube? He's strapped and says to her, get dressed, we're going. She says she doesn't want to go, and he says he don't give a F about what she wants, clearly. So she gets dressed, because I'm not being funny, you're strapped, you ain't got to tell me twice. I might ask you, do you have a preference of what outfit I wear, because I'm not about to get shot for this. No way. So I shouldn't laugh, but come on. So she said she went. She is in the car, and she testified that when he said that they're going, he said they're going to unalive Kid Cudi. That's what the mission was. She don't want to go, but obviously she's gone. She says while whoever's in the house, She calls Kid Cudi. It was her that called Kid Cudi and said, they're in your house. Diddy found out such and such. Remember, it's notes and a load of videos. So that is kind of the basis of that. So she corroborates the arson. That's arson. He's taken her against her will, strapped up or strapped, pause, you know what I mean? Strapped. Is that not kidnap? I'm still confused. How do some people not see that they're proving the case? Anyway, so to me, that's kidnap. And then she told this other story. Now, this is the story to me that was giving Goodfellas. So she said, I think Diddy was given some jewelry. I don't think it was his, but it was his, you know, they borrow jewelry or whatever it is. So he's got this jewelry and it goes missing. So he now wants to know where the jewelry's gone, and Capricorn Clark was being accused of it. Not just accused. No, that's not good enough. Not just questioned. That's not good enough. She was taken to some unused office building where she was questioned. Check it out. She was given a lie detector test for 4 days straight. That is scary. That's Goodfellas. I'm sorry, that's crazy. So she's gone through this, and one of the things she said is that obviously she's nervous. I'd be nervy. What do you mean? A lie detector test, you know. So she's nervous and they weren't getting a read. Remember, that's all about your reactions to questions and how you answer. And they weren't getting a good reading. And he said to her, like, yo, like, I need a reading, because if I don't, you could end up in the river or something. Clearly she's petrified. So again, another piece of testimony to me that just adds to the bigger picture. And she was adding pieces that were very important. She confirmed the arson. She confirmed the kidnapping. She confirmed weapons. She confirmed threats. Come on now. There's no way they can let this man go. There is no way. But let's move on. That was Capricorn Clark. In at number 5, we've got Kerry Morgan. Now, Kerry Morgan was Cassie's best friend. She was reported to have been Cassie's best friend from 2001 up until 2018. So that is a long friendship. And she was apparently one of the only few, or if not the only friend that Cassie had at that time while she was with Diddy that wasn't associated to Diddy. So this was her friend. Now, again, another piece of testimony that just corroborated what Cassie said, what she testified to, what she put in her civil case, and what other people had witnessed as well. So she spoke about him pulling Cassie's hair and just hitting her, and just the same as what everybody else said. Now, why I think she was an important witness is because her friendship with Cassie ended. And it ended after Diddy attacked her. She said they were at Cassie's house. He hit her with a wooden hanger in her head or behind the back of her head or something of that nature. And according to her testimony, Cassie wasn't supportive of her after the attack, and that is why their friendship ended. Now, it's on subject, but off subject, around that time, a lot of people, and I heard a few people saying, see, this Cassie wasn't a good person, like she wasn't a good friend. And I'm just like, why don't I see it like that? I don't see it like that. I don't see that her friendship ended because she wasn't a good friend. Yes, I can understand the friend feeling like you didn't support me. I get that. Wait, so your man's gonna rare and you don't even back the thing, like you're not even gonna. So I get that, friend to friend. But as us, as outsiders looking in, how do we not see that friendship ended because of Cassie's fear? I put it to you like this. How can Cassie defend her friend if she can't defend herself? This is her friend for how many years? Very, very, very many years. That's her only friend that isn't associated with Diddy. Now, I'm pretty sure that she had a lot of love for this girl. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been friends and so close for so long. This was her best friend. If you're willing to lose a friend rather than support them, that speaks to the control. Does it not? Or am I different? I don't know. I just don't understand. Everyone's just on some, yeah, she's not a good friend. What did you want her to do? That's my question. Whether she supported her behind closed doors, like, I'm so sorry you did that, or I'm pretty sure she didn't say, boy, that's your business. I'm pretty sure she didn't. But when ish hits the fan, how is Cassie going to defend her when she can't defend herself? So I think her testimony was good for that reason. It shows that this man had so much power that she lost friends willingly or unwillingly. She couldn't even keep friends because of this man. This man's attacking everybody, and somehow we managed to twist and turn it onto she's a bad person. I heard more people or read in comments and such, I heard more people talking about how Cassie's a bad friend because she didn't stick up for her, more than people saying that Diddy's a jam whatever for licking a girl in her head. Y'all are crazy. Not you lot, you know what I'm talking about. Them mother suckers. You lot are crazy. The victim blaming, victim shaming thing is diabolical. And it's very triggering. Like, it actually annoys me. But let me move on. That was Kerry Morgan, Cassie's ex-best friend. Another important piece of testimony. Let's move on. Yes, guys. So up next is Regina Ventura, who is Cassie's mother. Now, just the fact of her having to testify is heartbreaking in itself. And her speaking to what she knew, I think that's powerful testimony. This is her mum, so that in itself made it powerful for me, and I'm hoping for the jury. Now, she testified to a few things. She said that she had taken pictures of bruises of Cassie, on Cassie. Can you imagine having to take pictures of the bruises and injuries that someone's inflicting on your daughter and you ain't got a power to do a damn thing? That would eat me up inside as a mother. I'm a mother. And I couldn't imagine my daughter coming to me. Anyway, I don't even want to think about that. So she testified to that. Now, again, she had an important piece of testimony that I think added to the racketeering and RICO. Again, when Diddy found out about Kid Cudi, he told Cassie that he's going to release her tapes. Now, we know what was going on those tapes, and I'm pretty sure that Cassie did not want that to happen. Likewise, neither did her mother. In order for him not to do that, this man is a diabolical... He said in order for him not to do that, or whether it was for him not to do that or for him to be repaid for what he spent on Cassie or something, sir, they must send him 20 grand, which they did. Now, obviously, not everybody's rich out here. Everyone ain't just got 20 grand lying about. Her parents had to remortgage or put a, you know, when you remortgage your home or get equity out of your property in order to give this man to save your daughter. This man's evil, you know. That's next level evil. So he's taken that money, they've remortgaged, got the 20 grand, sent it to him. 4 days later, he sends it back. Why? Because Cassie's gone back to him, or she's agreed to go back to him. Does that not show some kind of financial manipulation? That's blackmail, isn't it? If you don't do A, I'm going to do B. And what was B? Releasing the tapes of things that you was forcing her to do. This man needs to rot. I hope they throw away the key. Throw it away. That shitware. Because this man is beyond belief. What do you mean you're going to extort her parents for 20 grand? And you know what the sad thing is? They've had to remortgage their home for that. That's peanut punch money for this man. Man probably dashed that down in a bar one night. And you're going to do that to the people then. He is diabolical. But her speaking about those things, about the money, which later was actually confirmed through banking records, so we know she's telling the truth. Her speaking about seeing bruises and things on her daughter, that's terrible, man. That's actually terrible. And this is a young baby girl as well. I'm surprised she didn't want to do this man something car, which she probably did, but what do you do? What can you do when someone's so powerful like that? But anyway, I think that Regina Ventura, her testimony, for me, I think was quite powerful. To hear someone's mum speak about the abuse, I think that I'm hoping that that one stayed with the jury. But guys, let's move on. So guys, in at number 3, Eddie Garcia. Now, Eddie Garcia is the security guard at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles. Now, as we all know, that is the hotel where the infamous CNN tape was recorded in the hallway. He was the security supervisor. He hadn't been working there long, and he said he got a call, I think personally, which he found a bit odd, from Christina Coram, KK, about the tape. He said he doesn't have that authority. He'd have to speak to his superiors, which he did send an email that was presented as evidence, sent an email to say that they were asking about the tape. Eventually he spoke to Diddy, who was desperate to get the sole copy of this tape and was willing to, he said he'll look after him. Garcia testified that he took that to mean financially, which I would have took it that way. So he's finally spoken to his superiors, and I think the manager said, yeah, for 50k. And somehow or another, they ended up with £100,000 for this tape. He said Diddy turned up, can't remember where. He turned up with a money counter. He came with the money counter, you know. And Garcia said it wasn't his first time. Came with £100,000 in a brown paper bag. And you lot telling me this man ain't doing some undercover-ish? Anyway, so he comes with a brown paper bag. Out of the 100k that was to be split, the manager may have got 50, the other guy got 20, and Eddie himself got $30,000, where he said he bought a used car. He said he had to sign an NDA, and he was to give them the actual only copy because you want it destroyed. He said he had to sign an NDA after he took the money, but he was so nervous that he didn't read it. He didn't know what he signed. He just took the money and I guess hoped for the best. Then the tape ends up on CNN. Now, I couldn't work out how, or if they've ever said, or if anyone's testified as to how CNN got the tape, but somehow CNN got the tape. And he said police or prosecutors first spoke to him, he wasn't forthcoming, he wasn't honest. Probably fearful, because you were part of some dodgy-ish, like that's a bit dodgy, like, oh yeah, he gave me 100 grand in a brown paper bag. I mean, that doesn't give. So he said he wasn't 100% honest, but he's now being open and he's explaining. Was he another one that was given immunity? I'm not sure. Drop in the comments and let me know if you know that. But again, another piece of important testimony, guys. How can you say that him paying for a tape that shows him battering his partner during or midway or after a freak off, he pays 100k? And you're going to tell me this man ain't going to get done for this? There's too much evidence. There's too much testimony that shows what he's about. So Eddie Garcia, again, another important piece of testimony. That doesn't speak to violence. That doesn't need to. We saw the tape. But he's spoken about how he's corrupt. Anyway, let's move on because Diddy's giving me a migraine. Let's move on to the next one. So yes, guys, number 2, we have Mia. Now, Mia is actually a pseudonym. We don't know who she is. She is a former assistant to Diddy and she worked with him from 2009 to 2017. So she was right around the Cassie time. Her testimony was another one that was quite shocking, and she is one of the 4 victims. So where everyone else were witnesses and, you know, she is one of the victims. Now, she testified that he sexually assaulted her more than once. She also testified that he was up and down. You didn't know whether he was coming or going, and everything was determined by his mood. So she testified that on some days he would treat her as an equal, and another day he would treat her like a piece of crap. She said she was fearful of him. He had assaulted her, and she witnessed a lot of assaults between him and Cassie. And when I say between him and Cassie, she testified that she never once saw Cassie fight back. She also spoke about a trip that they took together to Turks and Caicos? I don't know, that place. And whatever happened, Cassie comes screaming, Diddy's gonna unalive her. They barricade themselves into the bathroom while he's banging on the door. They escaped through the back, I think, and ended up in the water until night fell. And what was quite harrowing is that she questioned whether it was scarier to face Mother Nature or to go back to Puff. Now that speaks volumes. It's scary. This man is scary. So we've got someone else who's testifying as a pseudonym. Clearly he knows who she is, and it's scary. It's a scary thing. So her cross-examination, they tried to get her on post birthday messages and Instagram posts that she made praising him. Now, I'm not being funny, that's stupid. You can't say, well, he didn't assault you because you said happy birthday to him. And I think she answered that back then you didn't put horrible things on Instagram. Like, that's not what we do. So I don't know if their cross-examination made much of a dent. I'm not sure, but I think her testimony was important, being that not only was she a victim, but she wasn't an intimate partner victim. And that throws out all you lot's talk about, oh, but this is domestic. That's not domestic. When you're kicking the arse of your assistant, at what point is that domestic? This man's a monster, yeah? Mia testified to over and over again seeing this abuse. It became too much. She left and now she's here. So again, another important piece of testimony. Her testimony didn't go towards the trafficking. He's not being done for trafficking her. His is about forced labor. She spoke about working for 4 days straight with no sleep, none, to the point where she said her body shut down, like her balance was off. She was just all... Forced labor is a form of abuse, assault. This is crazy, but guys, we have made it. It is finally time for number one, and there could only be one number one. Cassie Ventura. For obvious reasons, Cassie gave a damning testimony. This poor girl, woman, she's a grown woman now. Cassie testified for 4 days straight. Tearful at moments, strong at others. She spoke about, because she was with him on and off for 10 years, she spoke about 10 years of abuse, manipulation, coercion. She lived a very, very scary life where he had full control over most of her life, whether it be finances, her career, which we know he controlled. Where's her albums? He had her signed to a 10-album contract. Where are they? She spoke about these freak-offs. She spoke about the first time he asked her to do this with another man while he watched how her stomach churned. Probably because of the nastiness of it, but imagine being young and thinking this guy loves you and he's your man and now he wants to see you open foot. Like, so that crushed her, and she said it ended up being like a job. There was no room for anything else. It would go from 24 to 48 to 72 hours. She testified that the longest one was 4 days. 4 days. And you lot are gonna scream, she liked it. She's a 304. Your mum's a 304. Yeah, because what? How on earth are you gonna sit there with a straight face, full chest, listen to this girl's testimony and say, yeah, she enjoyed that? And my argument is, okay, let's say she enjoyed it the first time, or I don't know, she didn't hate it, but however that went. You never eaten something so much that you get sick of it. Don't you remember when you was a kid when you wanted to eat all the ice cream? You ain't ever eaten something so much to the point where you can't stomach it anymore. Whether she liked it at first or didn't, whatever the case is, she got to a point where she didn't want to do it. And he forced her, and we know it because we saw it. He didn't say, oh baby, please. This man dragged her by her neck back. I've said it before. This man is scary. And Cassie was scared. So for all of you that are saying, why didn't she leave? That's why. Because she was scared. He was powerful. 4 days worth of testimony, her telling her life with him. You lot don't listen, or you don't care, and it's scary. But over here, the monarchy stands with Cassie. So Cassie, we stand with you. And what I love to see is that he didn't break her. She moved on. She grew. She healed. She's got a wonderful husband. She's now got 3 beautiful kids. Imagine giving birth after that testimony. She must have been under so much stress during that. She's a really, really strong woman. Really, really strong woman. And I rate Cassie. I'm not looking at her as a 3 or 4. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. That's easy. That's the easy thing to do. Oh yeah, she enjoyed it. No. Let's not do that. Let's stop doing that. Let's stop taking the easy road and shaming victims and blaming victims. Let's stop asking why didn't she leave. And ask why did she have to escape. Make sense? Let's do that. But for now, guys, this has been the top 10 pieces of testimony in the Diddy trial. We had Cassie at number 1. And Cassie, you done a great job. Yeah. And us, real ones out here, we got our fingers crossed, and we hope that this is the fall of his empire, because Cassie is the one that lit that little spark in her. It was her, that strength to tell this story. And people say, no, but she filed a civil case. Shut up. Another thing before I go. She filed a civil case, so she just wants money. And I want us to normalize that. Let's normalize victims wanting monetary compensation, because what else is there? You can't undo what's done. You can't take away the trauma. You can't change the person that I've become because of what you inflicted on me. So at the very least, I want your money. So for all of you who said she got 20 million or whatever, she didn't get enough. She didn't. It's not enough. Because having 20 million in the bank doesn't save you when you wake up in a cold sweat, or when you have flashbacks, or when you flinch because someone got too close or something was too loud. Let's normalize that, yeah? But thank you guys. If you made it to the end, don't forget to like the video. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Come and join the monarchy. I need you over here. I need some real ones over here. So do that for me. Put your notification bell on so you don't miss a royal summons. Look out for part 2. Also, look out for the Tea with the Queen session to follow this video. Guys, we got to talk about this. We got to go through the top 10 and have a little discussion. I want to talk to you lot. See what you lot are telling me, yeah? But for now, I have been your host, your royal realness, the SlayQueen. This has been SlayQueen TV. See, my battery said bye. This has been SlayQueen TV. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.